real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Anna Slaughter says the defendant is her nephew. And after he got into a drunk driving accident which took the lives of his infant twin daughters, she hoped he'd change. But after he found out his wife was cheating, he continued to drink, and his probation was revoked. Anna's suing her nephew for a loan. Defendant Tim Oman takes full responsibility for what happened with his twin daughters and says he was happy to go to prison because he quit drinking. Tim says he and his wife divorced after she cheated, but they have since gotten back together. And he's been unable to repay Anna because he's only been out of prison 2 years.
Start with you.
I am the aunt of Timothy Oman. I love him very much, but I think he's made some really poor choices prior to all of this. And
Like what?
prior to this, he did a lot of drinking. And I actually feel humiliated that I actually have to be here because I don't feel he's taken that the responsibility he should. But he had an accident with some twin daughters that were born in July of 2001.
Whose twins? His twins?
His twin daughters. 2 months later, he was drinking and went to pick them up from the babysitters, had an accident, rolled over his vehicle, and the twins were thrown out. He had to go to his dad's to get flashlights to find those children. And I have this. So he was charged and was convicted of homicide by negligent operation of a vehicle and for operating while intoxicated and causing injury.
How long ago was that?
2001. They would have been 11 years old this year, next month.
Was that a wake-up, perhaps?
No. He was put on probation. He got off really easy. 2 years later, his wife had an affair and he went out drinking again. This time, his probation was revoked and he went to prison. He was drinking and went to pick them up from the babysitters, had an accident, rolled over his vehicle, and the twins were thrown out. They would have been 11 years old this year.
Was that a wake-up, perhaps?
No.
Defendant Tim Oman is being sued by his aunt, who claims Tim had a drunk driving accident that took the lives of his twin infant daughters.
And what has he been doing with his life since then?
We became very close. I would go visit him in prison quite often. And in October 2009, he called me, was quite devastated, upset because his house was going to be foreclosed on and his wife was filing for a divorce. So I had him he signed power of attorney papers. I started checking into things, found out that she had rented the house out after he was incarcerated, moved in with her boyfriend, and didn't make house payments or property taxes. So in all of this, of course, I found out all the details. In the meantime, she moved back into the house. I had her sign a quit claim deed, so that when I paid monies that she couldn't come back and gain from the house after the divorce.
You paid monies toward the
property taxes and house payments.
Is this the loan you're referring to?
Yes.
All right, let me allow him to give some background and then we'll get back to the loan. Sir?
Okay, Your Honor. I did have an accident in 2001 and my daughters did pass due to my irresponsibility, which I take 100% accountable for. I did have a rough time in my life with drinking, always have. Did my 5 years. In the 5 years that I did talk to other drunk drivers. I volunteered my time to do that throughout the time to give back.
When did you go to prison?
That was in 2005.
All right, so
I've been out just shy of 2 years.
Hold on. Yep. From 01 to 05, what was going on with you?
I was on probation and my marriage started falling apart.
Why?
I believe it had a lot to do with the accident and just I wasn't myself anymore. Couldn't forgive myself.
Did you continue to drink?
I quit drinking totally 100% until my marriage started falling apart, and then I medicated myself like I've always done throughout my life. I never thought I'd ever say that I was happy to go to prison because I did find myself and I did learn a way to deal with my problems other than self-medication. Finally, I can talk about something and if I can talk about my accident and help one person to make the right decision, it's well worth what I had to do to learn this.
And you haven't had any alcohol since when?
I was locked up in '05 and I haven't touched since.
All right. She's been there for you and helped you through all of this and visited you in prison. And is that true, what she says?
Yes.
All right. What's up with your wife now, your ex-wife? And did it happen like she says? You want to give me some insight on what she says? If you don't have to address it at all, if you don't want to,
Right,
but she's kind of throwing it out there, saying that your wife moved in with another guy and rented the place out, but never paid, and they were about to take the house from you. What?
That is 100%
Everything
true.
that she said is true?
Yes.
When was the last time you all were together?
With my wife,
Yes, sir.
we are currently back together.
All right.
Our family's back together.
All right. People forgive each other. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. And she moved back into this house unknown to me, of course, and then I had to get her to pay rent, and she didn't pay rent, and I had to evict her, etc. She went through the divorce in February of 2010. I found a renter so that I could get rent to make these house payments and pay toward the property taxes. She moved in July. Tim became acquainted with her, and they began to have a relationship. And anyway, she ended up pregnant. In her first trimester, Tim kicked her out and moved his
That's not
ex-wife in.
true.
Moved his ex-wife in?
Gave her 15 days notice.
I did not. She voluntarily moved out.
Go ahead. So why are you suing him? What did he do?
I paid $3,000 toward his house payments, and I paid 2 years of property taxes to save this property for him.
And he agreed to repay you.
Correct.
All right, sir.
I have,
You have some evidence there you wanted to show me?
yes.
What do you want to tell me, sir?
I did agree to pay her, and the agreement that we talked about is when I get on my feet to make a payment plan with her. I don't know if I'm going to recover anytime soon. I have been trying, but for on my feet, I'm a long ways away from that, Your Honor.
She's kind of throwing it out there, saying that your wife moved in with another guy and rented the place out.
That is 100%
Everything
true.
that she said is true?
Yes.
When was the last time you all were together?
With my wife,
Yes, sir.
we are currently back together.
All right.
Our family's back together.
Defendant Tim Ullman is being sued by his aunt, who claims Tim had a drunk driving accident that took the lives of his twin infant daughters.
When did this occur again? This is 09?
I've been out of prison not even 2 years, sir.
Okay, I have something else.
What's that?
This is a mud bogger. This is Tim's expensive hobby.
A what?
Mud bogging, it's called.
Okay. And so you
And-
haven't worked since you've been out of
No,
prison?
I've worked every day since I've been out.
You've worked every day since you've been out. And you haven't given her a dime on this debt?
At this point in time, no, I haven't.
And you blame it on what again? You're back to the prison thing again?
No,
Is that what you
no.
tried to blame it on?
No, sir.
What are you blaming it on then?
I'm just trying to get caught up on bills.
That's a bill.
I understand.
And in all these years, you haven't given her anything? And you did try to blame it on, I've just been out of prison for 2 years. Nobody feels sorry for you, sir. I got news for you. Nobody feels sorry for you. They feel sorry for these babies. And is this yours?
Yep.
How long have you had this, sir?
12 years.
12 years. And those are the bills you're trying to stay caught up on. Let me get you out of here, sir. You're trying to play the pitiful role, although I'm not going for it. $5,000 for the plaintiff. You can go and be pitiful. Have a good day.
Just wanted to take responsibility and pay back all the people he's taken money from.